So as COVID cases continue to rise, as we're going to see with the fall spike that we're now experiencing across many parts of the country, there's a libertarian group called Idaho Freedom Foundation. They've released a video because they're upset that the governor of the state has decided to pull back on some of the gatherings and the large gathering crowds that they've allowed as summertime allowed some of the numbers to go down. So this featured multiple politicians in the nearly 2.5 minute ad where they were talking about how upset they are over this. One particular moment during this from the Lieutenant Governor is Lieutenant Governor Janice McGeachin. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, McGeachin. She is featured in the ad. Let's see what her contribution was.
We recognize that all of us are by nature free and equal and have certain inalienable rights, among which are enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing happiness and securing safety.
So she's pursuing happiness, the pursuit of happiness, that whole term, and also the movie about it. Apparently it's raising a gun up, slapping on top of a Bible. It doesn't get any more hokey and exactly in line with what people that make fun of folks like this goes. Can we see one more time exactly her face when she decided to pull that gun out?
Pursuing happiness and securing safety.
It's like,
oh my gosh.
It's crazy. So just in case you guys weren't sure exactly what she was talking about there, her whole line in that section was section 1 of the Idaho State Constitution. So all men are, that way, the Constitution says all men are by nature free and equal. She said all people. So, why didn't you go ahead and quote the Constitution? How come it has to be all people? How come you have to change it to all people? I thought it was just men, right? Anyways, that's a small point that bothered me about it. But guns and Bible somehow is the message here when we're talking about pushing back on the governor of the state, trying to put in safety precautions to protect citizens from spreading COVID further, as we've seen it begin to spike in many states across the country. This is what we're arguing about here.
Yeah, there's of course, there are two ways we can go at this story. There's the undeniably funny, sinister look on her face as she's, caressing that gun. Oh my gosh, and that's, you can make fun of her. We can have a good time, but also, JR, it's the constant messaging to encourage violence, yes. Right? Like it's that. It's done intentionally. It's incredibly dangerous considering the political climate we're existing in right now. The civil unrest that we're likely to experience around the election. I'm hoping that we can just have a peaceful day. But based on what we've been hearing from the right wing over and over again, they say it all the time. They keep talking about a civil war. They keep talking about, arming themselves. They keep they're apologists for right-wing gang members who ambush and murder cops in their vehicles. They're apologists for Kyle Rittenhouse, who gunned down 2 protesters in a state that he doesn't even live in. So all of this stuff, as much as I want to laugh and make fun of her, and to be fair, we should make fun of her. There's also the ramifications of this kind of communication and messaging. It's done intentionally.
It's a part of that, what I was talking about before. It's a fake blitz to get enough people to be convinced, oh, that's right, let me go find my gun. Hey, where's my Bible? Oh, who gives a damn about that Bible? Let's just get the guns and say we carry our Bibles with us as well. That's all it's stoking, and that's the whole message behind it. By the way, there's lots of visual cues here too that I noticed. So you can show that part a little bit for as I go. So she's got this Ford E350 van that's in a matte army green color. That's for a particular reason. We're at war. It's like an army green van. You pull out your gun, you got your American flag draped around it, and you're talking about honestly, the van looks like it's supposed to be like an armored van. It gives this visual cue without saying it. All these things are very, very much scripted and figured out to make sure the people who are watching go, oh, look at that tough lieutenant governor with a gun in her hand and a Bible in that armored van with the American flag across. Yeah, America first. That's the message that sends. And these insane people will go and do the same thing, except they'll actually do it. This lieutenant governor is not gonna go around shooting people out of her van, but her followers will. Especially when they're upset about, again, the governor attempting to put together a plan to save people's lives. Pull out the guns and the armored trucks and the Bibles now. Where's the connection?
Yeah, the pandemic did not need to in any way be politicized. And it not only became politicized to a point where we're one of the worst countries in containing the virus, but it's also politicized to the point where anyone who tries to do the right thing is met with threats of violence and all sorts of insane accusations. Yeah. I mean, I'm used to death threats and stuff like that, not to the extent that Gretchen Whitmer's been dealing with. But think about it, like what has Gretchen Whitmer done wrong other than try to do what's necessary to keep her own constituents safe during this pandemic? And the federal government, I mean, you want to talk about dereliction of duty, like the federal government, sure, they passed the CARES Act, even though it was flawed, that unemployment benefit was incredibly important for a lot of people. But that ran out in late July, and people have been left on their own to figure it out since then. And so I'm bringing that up because the economic anger and frustration is real. And the worst people in this country have exploited that anger to misdirect it toward the very individuals who are trying to do the right thing on a local level.
Yeah, she had not a quick statement. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but her worry is the businesses are suffering. That's the idea. So
yeah, businesses are suffering. And by the way, they're suffering and the federal government should subsidize these businesses because that's having a centralized response to this pandemic is the whole point of a federal government. That's the whole point, right? And so I get it. Like I feel awful for small business owners that have been hurt by this. They should be getting the help, the financial help they need from our federal government so they don't lose their livelihoods, so they don't lose their businesses, they don't lose everything that they've worked hard for. I get it. That anger is real and it's justified. My point is it's being exploited and that anger is now being misdirected toward people who are trying to do the right thing on a local level.
And that's the thing, she's saying we should be addressing our businesses. Why aren't you addressing the businesses in your ad? You got guns and the Bible and an armored looking truck that's not armored with an American flag draped on it. Where is it addressing businesses there? That's the problem. If you're concerned about businesses, bring that up and have a discussion. Maybe you can figure a way to do things that you find yourself on the side of progressives, first of all. And number two, instead, just let's create a violent image instead. That's the answer instead of talking. That's where we've gone.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.